Well, it seems we'll be continuing the trend of being surprised by the Corvette C8. You see, the embargo is not lifted for reviews until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., yet here we sit a full day early, and I have here the full review from Motortrend over their first drive on the Corvette C8 Z51. And it's incredibly impressive. I think the wording they used is Chevrolet keeps their promises. Now, I don't know whether it was uploaded early accidentally or it was just leaked, but it is on Motortrend's website for you all to check out. I will put a link in the description, but I've already read through it and I think you all are going to be thoroughly impressed. So let's dive in. Motortrend's official testing says that they were able to hit the C8 Z51 of a 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Now, Chevrolet said that it would be sub 3 seconds. I think a lot of us were guessing 2.9 to the 2.95, just a shade under 3 seconds. Yet this is 0.2 of a second quicker. Just a bit of perspective, Motortrend says that the quickest they could ever get the ZR1 0 to 60 was 3 seconds flat. Even the Z51 out of the C7 was only capable of a 3.7, with the Grand Sport coming in at 3.6 seconds. So 2.8 seconds is nothing to golf at. That is truly impressive, and it's all due to the change in mid-engine design coupled with the all-new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. Maybe even more surprising is that Motortrend is saying the C8 Z51 will do the quarter mile in 11.1 seconds at 123.2 miles per hour. Again, just a bit of reference, the ZR1 will do that stint in 10.8 seconds at 133.1 miles per hour. Just 0.3 of a second faster in the quarter mile, and this all for less than half the price of a ZR1. Motortrend has cited that 2.8 second 0 to 60 does happen with the help of a combination of launch control as well as Chevrolet now having 61% of the weight over the rear tires. And so it truly is amazing what Chevrolet has accomplished with their new mid-engine Corvette. Again, the ZR1 only has to push 4.8 pounds per horsepower, and it still has a slower speed than the C8, which has to push 7.3 pounds per horsepower, proving that the Corvette C8 is incredibly efficient at putting the power down to the ground. Moving on from there, we get to the important skid pad numbers. Now, Motortrend is saying they were able to average 1G with the all-season tires, but they said it was much better with the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, which come equipped with the Z51 package. They were able to average 1.04 Gs from those tires, which actually is a far cry from what the C7 was capable of, which was 1.11 average lateral G. So this of course leaves Motortrend begging the question, why would Chevrolet set their new mid-engine Corvette up in this way with all of the understeer? And they came to the simple realization it was for safety. You see, the mid-engine Corvette will drive so much different than the past generations, and the understeer will help keep the car much more stable. Motortrend even commented that the line between a nice power-on drift and a spin is razor thin, and the understeer will help with that stability. One nice thing is that this can be changed. The tuning for the car and the setup can completely change, so for performance models going forward, they can take out some of the understeer and go for more performance driving setup. So don't worry if the base C8 Z51 is a little too tame for your taste. In addition, Motortrend did say that the Corvette C8 had excellent stability control and they loved the performance traction management computer. And so while some people may be upset with the C8's mid-corner grip, it more than makes up for it in its ability to push out of a corner. Motortrend says that the ultra-quick transmission and extra power conspire to reduce the time between corners. If we take a look at the figure 8 times, we'll see the C8 Z51 puts down a 23.3 second figure 8 at 0.9 average lateral G. The C7 Z51 was a full 4 seconds behind that, and the C7 Z06 with steel brakes was 0.2 of a second quicker. That does lead us into the brakes, and this was the one area that I would say that kept the Corvette C8 from maybe getting more of a 10 out of 10 from Motortrend. They said it was the spot of contention for a lot of their staff that reviewed the C8. The C8 Z51 will stop 60 to 0 in 97 feet, which is a far cry from the C7's performance. Motortrend does say that for everyday driving and even sporty driving, it will do more than a great job. But when pushed to its limits, say on a track, that's when the brakes could fall short. Now this of course can be remedied with better brakes and aftermarket parts, but it does appear to be a weak spot for the Corvette C8. Going into a bit more detail, they say that the car does stop fine, but the brake-by-wire pedal doesn't feel that assuring. They even mentioned that the ABS activation happens before the pedal reaches the end of its travel, and once you're there, it's difficult to modulate. Continuing on, they say you have to learn to listen and feel for other signs that you're approaching the limit because the car stops considerably better under threshold braking than with the ABS software cycling through them. It's also cited that while Chevrolet says that the pedal travel distance and resistant characteristics change depending on the drive mode that you use, Motortrend couldn't feel a difference. But even with the shortcomings of the brakes, Motortrend cited that the suspension is perfection. With the magnetic ride control system, they set it to touring and said it was a luxurious ride when driving around town. Even in its harshest settings such as track, they found the car not to be cumbersome when hitting larger bumps and different imperfections in the road, which is nice to hear and something that I expected, especially after driving the previous model with the magnetic ride suspension. Now, unfortunately, Motortrend did not go into much detail about the all-new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission from Chevrolet, but they did say it was an exceptional first try, and they even compared it with the PDK. And while it may not be quite as good as the PDK, it sounds like it's going to be a great option for the new Corvette C8. They also called the steering precise and accurate, but did say they could stand to give it a bit more road feel. The article then gets to the interior review of the Corvette C8, and it appears that Chevrolet gets a huge thumbs up from Motortrend. They did have a 3LT trimmed Corvette at their disposal, but they loved the materials of the inside cabin. They mentioned that they loved the GT2 seats, that everything held them in place nicely. It was quickly mentioned that the steering wheel is a little bit awkward, but gives you a great look at the screen at all times. They're quoted with saying that the leather is the best quality we've ever seen in a Corvette, and the cabin is quiet enough to whisper across at 80 miles per hour. So it appears that Chevrolet's hard work for the interior cabin has certainly paid off. The article finishes by saying we have always made excuses for the shortcomings of Corvettes of the past. Now the C7 was the first attempt at making a well-rounded Corvette, but it appears that the C8 is the next level. Motortrend says this is just the beginning, and I cannot wait to see what we have going down the road. Well everyone, there we have it, the first full review of the Corvette C8 from a review company. Motortrend seems very happy with the car and really gives it high marks in almost every aspect, maybe less the brakes. I think it's safe to say that even the performance figures are better than we were expecting. Now I am really curious what you all think of this review and the upcoming Corvette C8. Make sure you let me know in the comments below. This is a great time to make sure you have that bell notification hit so you know when my latest videos drop. I am going to be making a compilation video of all of the reviews to see what each of the different review companies think of different aspects over the Corvette C8. I also should be getting my Corvette sometime next quarter of 2020, and I cannot wait. I'm trying to keep you all up to date on the strike and how that could potentially be affecting Corvette production. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. If you found it helpful or just enjoyed the video in general, please make sure you support my channel, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, we would absolutely love to have you join our community, so make sure you think about subscribing. As always, you all take care and we'll see you next video.